Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome back again to the Shanghai Dota 2 Open Season 2. We're going to be taking a look at a pretty wonderful match, game number 2 of Vici Gaming facing off against ehome this time around. Vici Gaming are going to be on the dire side. We got ehome with first pick on the Radiant. I'm Lyrical, joined as well by PqMz. How you doing, sir? By the way, where are you at in the world right now? Is it morning, noon, evening? What's up?
I'm not too bad. It's morning here, so I woke up like 8 hours ago because my sleep routine's screwed.
That's great. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm sitting as well.
10
I
seconds
got to sleep
remaining.
for 4 hours
Well, that's it.
this afternoon. Yeah, it's fine. People don't need to sleep. It's overrated. Just take some
ehome's
vitamin
turn
D.
to
You'll be
pick.
fine. Don't listen
I
to
agree.
children.
Dire team ban.
Who needs sleep? You can skirt through the first 30 years of your life without sleep, I'm sure.
Absolutely. Very, very overrated stuff. Well, we're going to take a look right
ehome's
into this game,
turn
though,
to
because
bat.
already a lot of picks have been coming out. The Batrider taken first overall by ehome, followed up by the Juggernaut, Shadow Demon, and then the Drow Ranger. I mean, what do you think about this Batrider Drow Ranger opening? I always feel like, these to me feel like some of the
10
strongest heroes
seconds
of the
remaining.
patch.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Especially
5
as
seconds
Oracle's
remaining.
been taken away, Batrider just has an easier time playing
Dire
the game.
team
Shadow
ban.
Demon's still an alright counter, but it's harder to pull off because the range on your spells and the cast point isn't as quick as Oracle's, and the laning stage difference is honestly huge. And you also have the flexibility of running the hero mid. Not many people do that in the Chinese
10
scene. I think
seconds
that's
remaining.
mostly a European thing, but with Drow it becomes more viable. So
5
there's a bit of
seconds
flex there as
remaining.
well.
Yeah, that's something I'd be curious to see if they do opt to go for it, because
Reserve time.
I feel like I don't remember if it was S4 that was the first person doing it, but he was definitely one of the more well-known early people that was doing it. And then in the
ehome's
past
turn
couple
to
of patches,
ban.
it's definitely fallen off a lot. More often than not, we'll see something like that Stormband out that runs in the mid lane, or possibly a Puck. As far as Vici Gaming is concerned, do you think you can go for something like a Shadow Demon Luna
10
strategy, even
seconds
though Drow
remaining.
Ranger's already been taken?
I
5
don't think they'd
seconds
go for it
remaining.
this early. They'd probably want to see a few more picks from ehome so they can figure out exactly when they're going to be
Reserve
strong.
time.
Because Drow can peak really early or a lot later these days. People have figured out the hero's not a 15-minute death push. You can go much later. Batrider enables that as well because the more map control you get with the hero, via pushing towers, the more space there is for Vici to split up, and then you can pick people off.
Hmm. Well, it'll be something that could be interesting if they go that route. I guess. Well, and you think that Vici are going to be the ones that are more likely to pick people off with the bat, even though the Batrider's on ehome side, or do they have to sort of like itemize around that? Maybe think or build the rest of the heroes around it. Like, is Nyx Assassin an okay pick here for Vici?
And Nyx can be good against the bat for sure, but again, it's the same thing as Luna, where if you pick it now, you could maybe make it work as a support because Shadow Demon's setup kind of makes Nyx alright, and then use it as a Batrider counter, but it doesn't play well against Drow at all. Unless you can farm up
Dire
the Ags
team
and play the
pick.
high ground defense.
Right. Well, and
But
that's
Nyx
always
just doesn't work too well into 5-man.
that's a good point. I always sort of forget about that side. Like you think about those heroes like a Slark, for instance, who are pretty good at being able to find the
10
pickoffs and
seconds
get on top of
remaining.
a hero. But Drow Ranger inherently, while you want to get on top of her, you need to do
5
so in a way
seconds
that allows
remaining.
you to stay alive. And if the Slark, or in this case, if a Nyx assassin doesn't get the right amount of
Reserve
farm, like he
time.
can start a Vendetta Impale onto Drow, but then after that, you just kind of get right clicked to death. So that's something else. So what to you is the big way to deal with the Drow Ranger then? Like, do you just try and ban out those defensive supports and get big wombo combo?
I think laning stage is the place to start because if you lose the lanes horribly, then it really doesn't matter what you have. I like what Vici have already. Jug's super solid laner. If you put him safe or mid, he will do a good job in most matchups unless there's some really huge errors being made. Shadow Demon's fairly safe as well. And then after that, it's generally just big team fight heroes. If they have things like Tidehunter, Enigma's really fallen off, but those kind of big ultimates to stop ehome's initial push or stop them getting Roshan can be really important.
Yeah, I really like that Tidehunter you talk about. I remember when newbie were taking it all the time. That was one of the
ehome's
big
turn
things that
to
they
pick.
were sort of endeavoring to do was they would have a How Drow Ranger and then KP playing the Tide and just move in towards the Roche, and basically nobody could stop them whether they were on Dire Side or Radiant, because you can't try and fight into a Roche pit with Ravage and Drow Ranger war going on. But Vici Gaming are going to take the Earth Spirit. It's also great for comboing together with those things if they want. But now ehome, a bit of an answer in their own right. It's going to be the IO taken now. So relocate saves, and I mean, just another hero that can help make that laning stage much more difficult to deal with for Vici.
Yeah, I really like this IO. I think it's super smart because it lets them play with the Batrider lasso when they're grouping up.
To pick.
Makes their economy a lot stronger as well because they're not going to feel like they have to 5-man. And you said the lanes as well. Wisp is very good at putting pressure, whether it's mid lane, off lane, wherever. The hero is just obscenely mobile
10
early.
seconds remaining.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm also looking at this like it's great,
5 seconds remaining.
but also they take the Darkseer instead of going for that Tidehunter.
Reserve time.
I sometimes wonder about this a little bit because it seems
10
like if you
seconds
can go for
remaining.
a relocate gank, like you can counter that out by hitting a really nice Ravage. Oh man, ehome are going to go
Dire
for the
team
Medusa.
ban.
This is a frustrating one also. So now the amp damage going there, and this is just going to be really scaling well into the late game for ehome.
Yeah, I hate to see people have to play against
10
Draudusa.
seconds
It
remaining.
really pains me as a spectator, as an ex-player.
5 seconds remaining.
I'm glad this combo wasn't in the game when I played, but I feel for Vici right now because
Reserve time.
they have the tools to deal with it in a certain way where a Spirit Daxi can apply a lot of laning pressure, and then once they get their levels, Jug can also be a really strong early game timing that ehome might not be quite ready for. If they can just deal with that timing somehow and get to the point where Medusa's got like drums or phase Yasha, Drow has enough levels in her aura, they're just gonna have a lot of problems. I don't really know how Vici ran this out, if they want to go for another kind of all-in core, or if they want to back off and try and play something like an anti-mage.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's a losing strategy because AM into Drow is just a nightmare.
Well, and I think too that you do need. It was sort of the same problem that we almost had in the last game. Was it was an anti mage that was able to be pretty unobstructed, but
10
there was a
seconds
tense moment there
remaining.
around the bottom tier 3 tower fight where they AM didn't
5
quite have his
seconds
manta up in
remaining.
time, and they weren't able to really take objectives
ehome's
quickly, and there was
turn
that
to
still
ban.
that death ball strategy that was going to run at them. I'm kind of wondering now as well, like even if they could be assaulting high ground fairly early for ehome, it's something that's definitely a possibility. Mid laner, OD has already been banned out.
10
They take out the
seconds
Puck.
remaining.
Puck is still available. I don't know. Do you more mana drain? Juggernaut can already
5
go for
seconds
Diffusal Manta.
remaining.
What are your thoughts on like another mana draining hero, or do you just try and shut down the Drow instead,
Reserve
and then
time.
Medusa doesn't do
5
anything?
seconds remaining.
For VG, I think the Jug
ehome's
probably goes
turn to
mid, and
pick.
then they have the option of going
Dire
AM.
team pick.
That might just be like their safest thing. Because it's still a hero that if you go like Vanguard early, it can interact with the Darkseer. Al can fill a similar role, I suppose. But it's a lot greedier.
I kind of like it is definitely greedy, but this is something that we've occasionally seen out of the Chinese teams recently is like 4 Midases on a team. It's honestly still been going on. And I start to look at the late game here. This is a lot of pretty good Aghanim Scepters upgrades to be handing out. You said that you hate seeing the Drow Medusa in the game being having to play against it. Do you think that Vici Gaming have drafted a squad that's going to be able to deal with them?
Yeah, to be honest, just through like early laning pressure. I think ehome's biggest problem is going to
10
be the first
seconds
10 minutes of the
remaining.
game, where they have to deal with a Spirit with Iron Shell, and
5 seconds remaining.
I feel like their lanes are just overall stronger on VG. So as long as they can exploit that and get an advantage from it, they should be able to come into the point around the 15-minute mark where they can win the fights and stop ehome getting like that initial tier 1, tier 2
Prepare
tower
for battle.
push that most Drow lineups want to thrive on.
Well, we'll see if they can make it happen. Game number 2, Vici Gaming facing off against ehome. I feel like this is just one of those classic matchups. You've got, 2 powerhouse Chinese squads. Lanham here is going to run into FY. Smokes break. The pings went out. Although that's mainly over on the top lane as they were able to see the Bat Rider, who did not place a ward. So they might have baited the Dire side into using a sentry up on this high ground here, but it doesn't look like they're going to be able to get the immediate D ward. This one should eventually take out this sentry ward. So pretty good stuff overall as far as D warding from the Radiant is concerned.
Dota is a game of centimeters in this case, honestly. Like, the smoke broke when
30
they just get
seconds
round
to
the
battle.
trees. That pretty much means this other ward isn't gonna get countered.
No.
Or at least not initially. They'll probably wait and see when the camp's blocked. But because the sentry's on the Bat Rider, it's quite safe.
Okay. What do you think about the Drow Ranger going mid, it looks like, on Sylar with Guardian there? Do you think that that's the right answer against the Alchemist?
The battle begins.
I think it's less so against the Alk as opposed to more against Vidaxia, because Drow is really, really horrible at dealing with lanes pushing in. She's not the best hero to last hit under the tower. It's a lot harder than most. So I think Dusa just deals with it a bit better because you can at least push the wave with the snake and you can pull the hard camp with Witch Doctor, etc. So you can at least do something more in that lane. I think that's why they're doing it. Just sets himself up slightly better. Because most heroes can lane against Elk. You just need to ferry a salve or two, and you should be pretty good.
This is a little bit unfortunate. The IO didn't do the bestest job of pulling in, so the creep wave started out on Ghost's favor. Now he should be able to get all of these under tower, I would imagine. Quelling Blade already in hand, as well as the Poor Man's Shield salve. And a pause comes out. What do you think about this top lane here? We've got Mr. FY as well as DDC and the good old ZYF. Is this a kill potential in this lane against the Bat Rider? Like, how does 11 play this?
I think he just has to soak for level 2, and then when the Wisp starts moving around with bottle level 2, they can maybe do some things. Unfortunately, his camp is blocked, so he's not going to have any chance of playing around that, and he doesn't hit the D ward either. So it's a sad life for him to start the game. It will definitely be slow lane for him. I think it's on the Wisp to change that.
Oh god, that really hurts. Yeah, we'll see if he does opt to heads off somewhere else. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, Sylar trying to kite out Ghost to the best of his abilities. Does have that early point in frost arrows. Right clicks are coming, and Ghost is taking a bit of a beating. Forced out the salve already. Oh, and meanwhile, top lane. Old 11 is going to fall. ZYF finds the first blood. And that was a little too easy for him.
It's also the fact they don't lose lane control getting this kill. A lot of times as off laners you can warrant dying if the lane's starting to push into you, but look how deep it is.
Weep some more.
Unfortunately they don't have any salves for the jug, but you can just use his healing ward. It's not like he needs to have the help anyway.
Oh god, and 11 might be in trouble again. They've got a lot of slows and the stacks of Shadow Poison. They did nerf the initial damage, but they're not going to go for it.
Yeah, Shadow Poison nerf probably keeps him alive there. That would have been like an extra 80 damage at least. No, even more than that.
That's sort of one of the questions that I had about this most recent patch was to what extent were you going to be able to zone an offlaner as a solo Shadow Demon? And we're seeing right now it's not as good as it would have been previously. Meanwhile, another disruption comes out. Mana with the haste turn is going to start to make some stuff happen, but the spin forward, that's going to be a dead IO. And now maybe they'll take down DDC in turn. Stacks of sticky napalm on FY. The hasted Witch Doctor is causing a lot of issues. They do have that healing ward keeping FY alive, and it's going to Rolling Boulder away. He does escape 4 stacks, but no way to find the kill.
I still think it's favourable for ehome though. Sure, the Jug gets another kill, but this is experience Bat Rider wouldn't have access to if they didn't do this rotation. So I'll quite happily take that trade.
Alright, well, yeah, giving them a little bit of a start. Is this something that you feel like is going to remain, this tri-lane that they're now facing off against, or is this just to try and secure that 11 doesn't have a completely abysmal off lane?
It's also the fact Vici didn't have the Darkseer bottom to start with, so their supports didn't really have too much to do, so they could just move around, and this is where they're most effective right now. They might have to think about rotating bottom at some point, but the Deuce is nearly level 5, and that's at the point where you can pretty much spam Snake. I imagine he buys a Keeler as well, and then Darkseer is nowhere near as big a problem as he otherwise would have been. I feel like Vici missed a trick here. Starting jungles, they're like greedier, and it's also safer. you can see the Earthspirit's not really getting too much out of the start. I think he's level 1 at 4 minutes. It's not so good.
I mean, if they can find this kill, though, onto Old Chicken, they do have the Ion Shell on the Earth Spirit already and a second one onto the Darkseer, but I would imagine TP support would come rapidly, and yeah, they've got him ready up in the top lane, so this is not an easy kill. They're going to have to really wait it out, this one, and I don't know if Old Chicken's going to give them that opportunity.
Would be good for some harass, but yeah, I highly doubt there's a kill on here.
All right, they're going for it. There's the stun that comes out, but yeah, no need to take it. He's burned through a lot of mana, but FY not gonna find it. I don't know. How do you feel about this early game? Like, do you think that that's sort of something that they need to be concerned about? Is Ghost is gonna get jumped upon, but still no kill? Like the Earth Spirit getting nothing basically?
I think ehome will be really happy with this. Sure, they're slightly behind on all their cores respectively, and the gold graph is going Vigi's favor, but it's so minimal. I feel like it should be slightly more their way, if anything. Because Elk's always going to get more GPM than a Drow Ranger mid, because he needs more gold to play on an equal footing. And Darkseer's been in the jungle for the first 4 minutes of the game, so he's obviously going to have more farm than the Batrider. But it's about what you do with that farm. And ehome can be 10-20% behind what Vici have and still feel at like close effectiveness. Especially with Drow Aura. Like that hero just, it does so much for you. It makes up a full item in the first 10 minutes.
I will say though that we're looking at a couple of stacks that are off in the jungle for the side of ehome, and I mean if there's a way in which Vici realizes this is happening and going over and contest it, that's a lot of gold into the pockets of Alchemist. I don't know if they would go to check for that though. That's the only problem. FY's been roaming around and might get his spidey senses tingling, but no, they're not going for it as of yet.
It's definitely something you should check, because it's quite common when Wisper's in the game to stack the Batrider. It's very old strategy. And they do have the heroes to take it with the Jug hitting level 6. It's a very strong invading hero. Elk can then proceed to come in, join, and take the stacks.
Ooh. Ghost might be in some trouble though. He doesn't have Alchemical Rage for another couple of seconds, and he is going to drop just like that. And now ehome, they're the ones that are going to come and contest the jungle, and if they're not careful, they don't want to go for it. They thought about it. Instead, just going to take out the jungle of the side of Vici Gaming, and ehome really feeling good at this point.
Yeah, they're getting so much more than I would have anticipated, and it's really going to set them in like a good stead to this game. Now they're putting so much pressure on the Jug. He might even die here.
Yeah, he's taking a lot of damage. The Frost Arrows, oh my god, the Spirits are chasing, trying to get the kill. Old 11 is there as well. They're going to have to settle for DDC, but Ghost has also shown up now and thinking about going in towards this. They've got the healing ward available, and Jug does not have level 6, and he's so close. There's going to be FY rolling in and trying to bring down Garter. End is here as well. They are going to be able to tether away, but they do find that kill. Darkseer getting it. They have another surge in 5 seconds. Omni Slash, because the Jug got level 6 off the back of that IO kill. Rolling Boulder forward, now finds Sylar. Ghost is on top of him. A double for Yang with the Ion Shell doing work. And that one went really great for Vici. That's what they needed.
That's kind of more how I expected it, where they just rotate more heroes, they have Iron Shell on 1 or 2 melee cores, and they just run at ehome. And that's really what they needed to kind of kickstart the game for them.
This is starting to feel more and more like an Alchemist game. It's got only 31 CS, but top of the net worth, 3,500. Armlet off, like, has he been hampered too much that this is going to be delaying his Radiance pretty significantly, or do you think he's going to get decent timing on it?
I think that depends on how much ehome can do around like invading his own jungle. If the jungle doesn't get touched, he'll have 13-15 minute Radiance quite comfortably. If he gets shot out of his jungle, then it's a completely different game. So the first 10 minutes is like, okay, sure, you can have a 6-minute or an 8-minute armlet. It really doesn't matter if you get access to your jungle when you hit level 7. And, you know, he gets a haste rune top, so he gets the privilege of getting the bounty rune bottom, which is 1/3 of his armlet.
I thought for a second he might go down to land him. God, if FY only knew about this stack that was down here, it's so big, and Batrider, Old 11, is going to go and take it now. Oh, this would be huge for them if they could find a way to get it, but it's not going to happen. Meanwhile, up in the top lane, Juggernaut finds the kill onto Drow. Double Ion Shells with the Surge is pretty good, it turns out. And Old 11, does he spot out the Earth Spirit? Doesn't look like it.
Drow's just not a hero that can be up there on her own.
Oh, Lanham.
Always needs someone.
They find this kill, I believe, as they do end up taking him. But Batrider's going to finish off that stack, and a lot of gold that could have gone into the Alchemist's hands.
It's all what if, so I think they're getting reasonable trades now because they're pressuring ehome's cores whenever they show on lane, which is really important thing to make the opponent feel. If they feel like they can just step onto the lane against these kind of heroes, it's not good for Vici at all. Ideally, they want to start moving bottom now, maybe have the Jug TP down and just start pressuring this Deucer. Now Omni's off cooldown, they have Aquila so they can push the tower. I don't really see ehome having the response yet. The supports don't have their levels, and Batrider doesn't quite have his blink yet. I think the longer they wait, the longer they give ehome the chance to defend that.
That's definitely a little bit scary. They're instead going to go for this smoke gank play as the double Ion Shell is here. And Lana is going to be the one that gets the Omni. Only 2 spins of it, but it's more than enough. And maybe going to just be able to find a secondary kill as Sylar is here as well. Garter going to drop it now. Looking for Sylar and dropping low. Can they find that kill? Maledict is going to proc and get him. And the Gust back should keep Drow alive, I think. Yeah, they're going to have to get out of here. I'm lagging a little bit. I might need to head out of here. Kicks back the Batrider as he went in for the lasso. That was a pretty interesting.
I've never seen that.
I haven't seen that either. He pulls himself. That was really weird.
I mean, I guess it makes sense, because as soon as you get in range to lasso, you get it off regardless, and then the kick animation comes through, but that's just clowny. I've never seen that.
That's great.
That was a great game.
All right, come on now, guys. Let's get ourselves back into this. I did a quick little reconnect, and hopefully this is going to mean that we can get in there. Is that abusable at all? I don't think it is, right? There's nothing you can do that would make that happen.
I mean, you could kick your own Batrider to give him like a pseudo force staff, but yeah, it's not really abusable. Someone would have figured it out by now. The pushing your own Batrider I've seen, but I've never seen it as like when he's lassoing you. It's just funny.
Oh, Yang stealing those a couple of creeps as well with the vacuum. The damage from it enough to just get the last hit, so always love to see that. 11 meanwhile is going to have his blink dagger brought out to him, and do you think that they try and find a kill with this? I would imagine that's the role at this point now for the Batrider, but who's their main target?
I think they're quite happy getting any of the cores, even a support. They just need to move the Witch Doctor together with the Batrider, and they can pretty much pick anyone off, providing they're alone. The Alchem might be like the hardest kill, so the other 4 will be probably the targets. It's unfortunate they don't know about this ancient stack, or they're not seeming comfortable enough to contest it, which makes sense because going into that choke point against like triple Ion Shell is just super scary.
Oh, rolling boulder forward, the stun as well. Old 11 pulling back in. ZYF is going to die. They got a 5-person magnetize off. Vacuum wall onto 4. We're getting a little bit of Kale, but everybody on the side of ehome is dying. Can they find the kill? Old 11 very low, but not dead as of yet. Ghost is going to chase down a nice blink away, and Lanham now also going to get ran down. I don't think this Alchemist cares, although he does need to be careful. Armlet Toggling might be in a little bit of trouble, needs to hit this one perfectly, and on the other side, the Batrider is still chasing here. Nice surge away, and that counter initiation is going to come out now from FY. Misses the roll onto Old 11, looking for the stun. Alchemist hits his, but FY misses his, and now still running away. FY alive on 50 HP. They lose the Alchemist, another vacuum back, and Old Chicken, the solo Saphiro left, and takes the kill with that Omni Slash. Nicely played, and now Old 11, that's a relocate gank in from Guardian. Just trying to save the Batrider, and it will be enough. My goodness.
Just a little too much overextension from ehome. I don't think they're happy losing the Deucer for the Elk. Ends up not being too bad though.
Well, that's a little bit.
I didn't quite get to see the gold graph though. Do you get to see the numbers?
I didn't really. No, I was in the process of trying to figure out why the server decided to die on us slightly in the midst of that fight. But Regardless, it's fine. It's fine. Medusa building towards that Lincoln sphere, it looks
Dire's
like.
middle tower is under
And it
attack.
looks like ehome are actually just going to keep the pressure on now.
They have to.
It's really tough.
Radiant's bottom tower
Get the
is
imprisonment.
under
It's
attack.
fighting into a mech as well.
Pulling him back. DDC in some trouble. Right click. They've got the stone, but it only hits on the land. There's no way they stop that push.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter if you have mech when you just have one hero there getting picked off by the bat, which is exactly how ehome want to take fights. They want clean jump from the bat rider, pick one hero off, transition into a tower. If they can get that, that's ideal for them. Vici want a situation where someone gets
Dire's
lassoed and
bottom
then they've
tower
already
is under
prepped with
attack.
1 or 2 iron shells and then they counter initiate with a roll, 2-3 hero vac, which is level 4 now, so it gets even easier. Only thing they really have to worry about is the Medusa covering the lasso with Stone Gaze. It's going to cause them some problems.
Yeah, that's...
But they have Surge to kite around, and that makes it a bit easier.
I'll roll forward, and now they pull back Lanham. He is going to go down as the connection comes through, and Vici Gaming take another one of their own. Nicely played there. I mean, they've still got tremendous team fight potential out of this lineup when they find those big combinations.
Yeah, they still don't even have Radiance, and they're feeling really comfortable fighting. I don't think it's the biggest smoke gank though, because they get a support with 3 heroes. It doesn't look like they're going to be able to push the tower. Unless they see ehome TP top, then they might feel comfortable just running 5 heroes bottom. But they've already backed off such an amount. I think they're happy to just wait for Elk's Radiance.
And he's really close to it. How much of a game changer is that for the side of Vici? Sometimes we talk about like Radiance not really being a great item for them being able to fight, but it feels like with the farm that ehome have, they can... I mean, it's just always been that little bit away from finding the kill on all of them.
I feel like it's always going to make ehome run away from them as opposed to vice versa. Because Iron Shell on top of Radiance is just... it's too much damage to deal with early. The Wish Doctor's gone for maxed Maledict, so their sustain is minimal. They don't have a mech on any of their heroes.
Radiant's middle tower is under
Medusa doesn't
attack.
quite have a first item yet.
What do you think about the
Just
Lincoln's
needs a
pickup
recipe.
for her? Is that something that sometimes people talk about how ineffectual a Lincoln's Manta Medusa will be? Is that something that you'd be worried about, or is the Drow enough to...
I think it is. The Drow
Dire's
really
bottom tower
like
is
makes
under
Medusa's
attack.
items so much easier. Because normally you have to worry about getting sustain, which is generally why people go Link, because it also scales really
Dire's
well.
structures are
But
But
fortified.
hold that thought. We got the catch now,
Dire's
potentially.
bottom
FY.
tower is under attack.
This is the kick. It wasn't the best in the world, and now the relocate over in. He was just baiting the relocate, I promise. That's all that happened there.
And they definitely didn't want to commit if they didn't get a faithful engagement, so
Oh,
it's not too
they
bad.
might have it now, though. Oh, a good silence that catches back, and now with the relocate going away, that means there's no Drow Ranger in this fight. Can they find the kill? Omni Slash is available, but looks like Vici don't want to go for it.
Dire's top
Yeah, they're just
tower is
getting
under attack.
wisped now, where they're getting outmaneuvered, and they're trying to commit to these fights where they've just picked up Radiance. Their heroes are at their strongest, like level 2 Omni Slash as well, and now ehome have the ability to not give them those fights. As long as the roll doesn't connect, then their initiation's kind of subpar. It's very obvious when they want to run at you. As long as you've got some kind of lane vision, you just back off. You know, you blink away, you pop Deuce's ult, and you don't give them that chance.
Yeah, it's definitely feeling like the vision game is working into the way of ehome, and they already have, as you said, the maneuverability. As far as taking that back the other direction, I mean, eventually this Alchemist causes problems with that type of game because you're going to be pushing out all of those lanes constantly. Does ehome need to take advantage of this to find favorable engagements, or do you think that they're okay just continuing to farm with the Medusa being that late game insurance?
I think they're quite happy to play the more Rice game at the moment, because they're in a position where 5-on-5 is extremely scary. So they want to split the map as much as possible and then use the IO to, at least in conjunction with the Batrider, to get any free pickoffs that VG give them. And then they can translate that into like a 5-on-4 or an objective being Roshan or Towers.
Well, if you're in the top lane
Little
too,
bit on the Drow
they're
as well
gonna
now.
find the old chicken again, and I mean, it just doesn't really feel like they can go for the full-on engagements. The plus side of this is that IO is here, and so maybe if you pressure this tower pretty heavily, you can make something happen and force out a relocate save, possibly, but yeah, it doesn't seem
They saw
like
the
either
smoke.
team is very concerned about the movements. Like, the smoke gank here can translate into something, though, with old 11 and the Draw Ranger.
I'm pretty sure they saw it. They like drew on the map and they tried to scan, guessing the route.
Still, though,
Unfortunately,
they find that shadow.
movement speed.
Don't even need to relocate here. Easy as pie. Okay, maybe they do actually. Well, Alchemist stuns himself, and Vacuum is available with the Blink Dagger going off of cooldown soon. They don't end up committing fully onto end. Obviously, no lasso. But a very awkward state of affairs there.
It works out so well for ehome though,
Dire's
because
top
now they're in a
tower is
position
under
to start
attack.
hitting the tower. I
Dire's
highly doubt they're
structures
going to be able
are
to get it, but
Yeah, they're completely leaving. The
kind
whole
of what
chicken
they
doesn't
want.
even care.
Dire's middle
He's
tower
gone.
is under attack.
See you later, nerds.
yeah, efficiency. Force everyone to one lane, you got a kill, they didn't, you TP away, you start pushing out another lane, then Vici are going to split up, and then your lasso comes off cooldown in 30 seconds, then you go again. And it's up to Vici to like stop this happening. I think they really need the Manta on Elk so they can start doing some
Dire's
lane pressure of
bottom
their
tower
own,
is
and
under
then they can
attack.
start counterplaying this. But until that point, the Jug's farm is really like lackluster at this point. Mostly because the Elk's taking everything, and then Darks is also pushing out lanes that the Jug would like to be pushing out.
Right.
It's just unfortunate for him.
And he got his farm last game. He was playing that anti-mage and was just able to do whatever he wanted. They don't quite catch the scan right there. Yeah, it's going to be Yang just farming away, feeling comfortable. I guess Radiant, like, since they scanned in that area, would they have relocated in even if they didn't have vision? I mean, what's the goal there? Just to make sure that the Lanham wasn't getting ganked?
I think it's a preemptive thing of like, okay, there's a hero farming this area, so we want to set up a smoke gang. That's kind of the logic I would go by, because they don't have any deep vision. The only ward they have is on the bottom side of the map by their tier 1. So the vision game is definitely in Vici's hands. And they really need to change this, because Batrider thrives on vision. Sure, heroes splitting up
Dire's
is all.
bottom tower is under
Yeah,
attack.
it's the same thing. It's like they just want the ability to see one hero on their own and be sure of that, so they can convert the kill.
In the meantime, they're all hanging out right underneath this ward here. They've got eyes on Sylar as well as the Batrider who is heading off that direction, and it looks like they ping out that this is the route they think the Batrider's going to take, and I gotta say,
they're
it
reading
looks
this
like
really
they
well.
realize what's going on. Shubao Yowenti. This is the words
That
from.
almost sounds English.
I think that he's saying, let me farm, baby rage. That's what's going on.
I don't think he's that easy.
That's fair enough. Well, Alchemist, meanwhile, it's just going to be pretty close to that Manta style. He threw out some illusion runes around the top lane. This, to me, feels like incredible value. I mean, in some ways, an illusion rune for an Alch at this point is almost better than a bounty rune. You know what I'm saying?
I think it's about equal, but yeah, the difference in gold is minimal compared to the lane pressure you get from having the illusions.
Oh my goodness.
The Jug's not happy that he has more illusions though, because that's more camps the Jug isn't getting to hit, which makes him very sad.
All right, there's a little bit of a weird thing. If anybody happened to hear what happened, the like voice went down slightly for you PqMz, is because somebody in a group call with 150 people just hit the group call button accidentally, and Skype apparently turns down all the other sounds when I get a call. So that was weird. I'm sure it was.
You can change that in Windows settings.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you just go into control panel and you can fix that.
All right, I'm gonna go fix that later, guys.
Yeah, don't do it mid-cast.
I shouldn't mess with any of the settings. That would not be the way to make it happen.
I mean, there is a pause.
That's true.
The only real thing to talk about is how VG have like such sick vision and ehome have none, which is kind of amazing to me. As a support player, this is vision you die to be able to get in a game. This is like perfect. And then they've also got like the one defensive ward for when ehome want to invade their woods.
Oh, that's definitely what they would want to do. I mean, it is really crazy. And I mean, that's what I was saying is like they've got like that's the ping out that happened right there. They saw that Old 11 and Lanham walked up this cliff. They realized they were going to go over there that direction. And I guess for Vici now, do you just smoke gank with Shadow Demon after Alk finishes off this camp and try and go for a counterplay?
No, I think they sit on this high ground and they wait for ehome to come up if that's the move they presume they're going to do. It depends how long Sylar shows mid though, because if he shows too long and then they kind of realize ehome aren't going for it, they'll just split up and start farming again. But if you can fight on this high ground where you are, I think they're stronger at this point, but it doesn't really matter how weak or strong you are when you have high ground advantage, it just completely turns fights.
No. Well, and
Because their smoke
especially
will break around this mark and then you just vacuum 2-3 heroes into a Earth Spirit kick, magnetize, and they're all half dead already.
I mean, not to mention
not a
that
good
all
way
of
to
the
start a
damage
fight.
that's coming out from ehome is ranged attack right clicks. You're going to be missing a good percentage of those as well. So all of your damage is further mitigated where you're really not doing anything. So yeah, it
You don't
would
do
be a
damage
problem.
when you're running away.
Oh my goodness.
You know, if you're running away, you don't do damage.
That's true too.
Best defense is good offense.
I like that. That's the way to be. There's a lot of drawing that's going on the map right now. I think that both teams a little bit frustrated with the current state of affairs. But I mean, this match right here, it's really important for all of them. I think you want to be able to get a good showing. None of these teams are probably going to be getting direct invites to the major, I would imagine, just because I feel like most people are thinking that it's going to be 4. And still probably the main front runner as far as the Chinese scene outside of Wings would be Newbie. But still, like, to be able to play it and compete at a high level, you start getting invites towards those other tournaments, which maybe secures your spot for the second major. So I don't know. We'll see how it goes.
How important is this game? Is it like semis or
This is an
how
elimination
far into the
match.
tournament?
Yeah.
Okay, so ehome have to win
Yeah.
if they want to stay in.
It's lower
They've got the
bracket.
draft to do it, you know. Like Deuce Draw in a losing game is pretty comfortable to be sat on.
Yeah. Oh, when they disconnected. This is weird. We actually haven't had that many issues. I feel like China's been picking up their game with... Oh, God, I just caster cursed. I just want to say, I feel like China's been picking up their game as far as running lands with MDL, and now this one as well. We haven't had too many delays throughout the whole course of it, but a little bit of an issue here now. But yeah, this is the 5th, 6th place deciding match. So the team that loses the next 2 best of 3s are going to finish off with 30,000 yuan, 5th and 6th place, and I'm not exactly sure what that exchange rate is. Let me do a little bit of
Maybe like
research.
5 grand. I don't know. I'm talking out my ass here. I don't really know, but it's not 1-to-1. I know that much.
It's not 1-to-1, yeah.
If
1
it
to 1
was,
for
that'd
the
be
yuan.
such good for 5th or 6th.
Yeah, it's not bad at all. I mean, it's a decent sized LAN, and it should be pretty cool. Let me see. There we go. So 30,000 is going to be $4,500. So that's not bad at all. And then first place in this tournament is 200,000.
Wow, I was really close for my 5k.
Yeah. So that is 30,000 US dollars for the winner of this whole tournament and whole event. Man, and it drops
Not
down.
too bad for a week's work.
Yeah, not bad at all. Well,
And the problem is you can't get it every week because these tournaments, you know, stop running eventually. You need some downtime,
absolutely.
especially with the major coming up.
It's a very exciting time indeed for Boston.
What do you think of it being in Boston?
I don't know. At first, I was like, does that mean that TI is no longer going to be going on in the U.S.? Because it's like, why would you really have 2 of them? But I think that it was. I don't know. It seems interesting to me. I feel like there's a lot of different things that sort of coalesce together that made it happen to be in Boston.
Yeah, that's what I heard as well.
But I don't know.
But I think it's good for at least convenience sake, because the US is obviously going to be one of the better places to hold tournaments.
As far as places within the U.S. to have the event too, East Coast is really good, I think, because it means that now you're not on as bad of a time schedule for EU. You're not as on bad of a time schedule necessarily for like SEA in China either. I don't think it's not the worst in the world. So I kind of like it. I think that particularly since a large portion of the audience outside of US is also going to be European, there's a decent amount that, I mean, that are tuning into English coverage as well on SEA, but I feel like it'll be good. I'm very excited to see what happens. Particularly single elimination is the real exciting one.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to see how that format works. I heard some people complain about it, but then I think they kind of realized the lower bracket runs are what really excites people.
I mean, you get that
It's
every
definitely
game.
good for spectators. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, well, it looks like
Now we have like the
Radiant's top
post-pause.
tower is under
Do
attack.
people realize what's actually happening in Dota? Do they remember
Radiant
where everyone is?
structures are
Oh,
fortified.
And
Sylar!
Sylar doesn't.
Oh God, no! He's got revealed in the vacuum back. Doesn't get the Gus kicked as well. Oh man, Sylar doesn't get no respect.
Alone.
That's post-pause death.
Bat Rider also 11 is. What is he doing? He doesn't have. I don't. This is not the play at all.
No, he's fine. Wow, that's so lucky.
Did he force staff
Dyer's bottom
and just
tower
got alpha
is under
there?
attack.
I was wondering about that.
I'm guessing he like fireflied and got stuck. I don't know, I could be wrong. He
Dyer's
was obviously
top
placing
tower is
this
under
ward,
attack.
but the question is, you know,
Oh,
if he
jump in!
steals this
Bat
as
Rider,
well,
he steals
what a
the edges!
player.
Oh, old 11! What a god! What a guy! What a player!
Dyer's top tower
That's what they
is
needed.
fallen.
Medusa takes down the tower in the same breath. Beautiful
Radiant's
play.
middle
Old
tower
11,
is
the
under
captain,
attack.
doing it, putting the team on his back.
Yeah, in way more ways than one there. That's actually so good for them because ehome at this point, I
Oh.
don't think they can afford to fight into an Aegis.
Oh god, they've got to relocate out of here. Already popped it, but they lose the IO, and now Old Chicken is going to be forced to pop the Stone Gaze,
Yeah.
trying to TP out of here, and is going to end up being out. So they lose one. Bat Rider is going to die in the bottom lane to the Earth Spirit, and I think that FY
Oh,
escapes. Huge plays.
It's still pretty favorable overall for ehome though, considering they got the. Did they get the kill on Roche? No, they
No.
didn't. They only got the Aegis, but they also got the tier 2 top, and Medusa lives. So overall, it's good for them. But they need a few more good things to happen, I feel like.
Invisibility.
So now we have the real monstrosities coming out from Vici Gaming. Yeah, you're right. It's the Shadow
Radiant's
Demon
middle
Alchemist
tower is
illusions from hell.
Dyer's
Oh,
bottom
God.
I didn't
tower
even
is under attack.
think of that, to be honest.
What a nightmare. EDC.
I
So,
was more thinking like the Jug Illusions with Diffusal are going to be a nightmare for the Medusa as the game goes on.
I mean, what do you think is going to be the item that Shadow Demon picks up with this? Because he's going to be able to get probably some more gold than you would normally expect out of a Shadow Demon.
I think PqMz is a good start because it's such easy build up and probably followed by Blink just to secure the fact you can always get the target that gets lassoed either saved or you can like counter initiate in a different way. Because how ehome want to take the fights is they're going to want to lasso a hero and then Deuce is going to Stone Gaze to stop the people coming in. You can like break a Linken's and Disruptor before the Stone Gaze comes off. The lasso's not as scary. I mean, Jar still does a good amount of right click, but there's a lot of things he can do this game. But I imagine FY is the hero that like gets a farm regardless.
God.
He's probably just using it to cut waves as a luxury.
That's definitely the thing to do. I will say that actually Shadow Demon going to create some illusions of himself and head out. That might be the death of him. They have Gust and oh man, it wouldn't have mattered there at all. Like DDC was dead no matter what, but a little
He
unfortunate.
might put his illusions better, even would have lived. You know, if he did the move one illusion with his own hero and then bait with one of the actual illusions, he would have been fine.
Yeah, definitely.
What a scrub, dude.
I don't know. That yeah, okay. I don't know about that one, but yeah, it would have been a cool play. I don't know if did he know that Drow was coming after him? Like,
No,
okay, I didn't think so.
he was just using that to push out the wave as far as I could tell.
Well,
And
that
do a bit of scouting.
I feel like that's a trick that only works once for Sylar. probably aren't going to be able to find too many Shadow Blade initiations, I would imagine. The rolling boulder forward, find the silence onto Old Chicken, Omni Slash down as well. See you later, man. A vacuum wall back on the 2. They are going to get that relocate off, and no, it doesn't come out in time. Meanwhile, taking a heck of a lot of damage. They are bringing down very low that Earth Spirit, but caught inside the midst of it. Maledict doing its work, and they are not going to quite kill him. He does go down. Maledict Blast finally land him. They don't break the Witch Doctor ultimate, and so it's going to just destroy Ghost. They instead decided to stun the Old Chicken. And oh man, triple kill for Lanham on the Witch Doctor. That is value and a half. That Maledict did so much damage. And now they're also going to lose DDC.
Yeah, what started so good suddenly turned so bad. And I think that's all because their Jug doesn't do right-click damage at this point. If he had like a Diffusal Blade on top of his current items, then they would win that fight so handily, I feel like. Because they cancelled the relocate with the vacuum, or the stone, one of the two. It definitely got cancelled, which is the big thing. And then Deuce's stuck in the middle of the Jug right-clicking her and the Alk being there. But they just didn't do enough damage, so she uses that time to get the rest of his team there, and then, as you said, the Death Ward did work. He's halfway to an Axe as well now if he wants to go that way.
Oh my god.
He's going Glimmer instead.
Okay.
Or Shadow Blade.
I like that. We haven't seen too many of the Shadow Blade Witch Doctors anymore. I feel like that kind of fell off after the, like, you no longer get the single bounce off of the level 3. It's still really great for damage at level 3 Death Ward. The increase is pretty significant, but we don't often see that just sort of long duration. As far as other things that we can get looking forward here, this Old Chicken just gonna start pushing down mid. The buyback from the Alchemist, how much does this hurt him? Like, is he gonna start to really fall behind the rest of where he should be now?
Dire's middle tower
It's
is under attack.
definitely not good for him, but again, I feel like the problem isn't the Alk, it's the Jug. Which, the problem kind of stems from the Alk taking a lot of farm off the map, which is what the hero does naturally. They just haven't been able to convert any fights recently, which is where the Jug's really going to get his gold from. He's 9-2, so you can't fault his score, but he only has 150 CS, which for 28 minutes is really, really bad for a 1 position.
Oh, vacuum wall, but the BKB came out. They still did get the Sun and the Omni Slash down, but they're going to be able to pull him right back in and relocate away. 11 pulling in, and they get a nice magnetize out, but the Witch Doctor ultimate over on the other side land him. They don't have anything to stop it. They force everybody from Vici Gaming back, and Earth Spirit did go down there. Nicely played.
I think they're just really starting to realize now they can't take these fights. That wasn't even a bad initiation. Lasso got used on an illusion, Medusa got taken away, so the Stone Gaze was ineffective, and they still... okay, sure, they only lose their Earth Spirit, but they still lose the fight. You know, they don't convert anything off it, which is very comfortable for ehome.
Well, then here's my question for N. ZYF here. He's gonna really rapidly be building, I'm assuming, into the Diffusal Blade with Manta Style already done. Does that take him over the edge where now suddenly he can start to do enough damage to dismantle this Medusa, or is it just sort of inherently like she's gonna have her next item up by that point?
It's definitely going to help, but I do feel like it's maybe 5 minutes too late. Just because Skadi is effectively doubling your health, so you need so much more uptime, and the damage from ehome is starting to scale to a point where you're not just going to be able to sit in Deuce's face for 15 seconds and right-click her. And she's not going to be running away from you, so the whole diffusal charging her to purge isn't going to matter too much.
Oh my god, and
At least I
Lana,
don't think it is.
he actually is going back for that Agnum Scepter. His position in these fights has been immaculate, like always hiding behind, gets good maledicts off, afterwards has the Death Ward to follow it up, and in that last engagement, even though it didn't end up hitting onto that many different heroes, like he's in a position where he can find this now and throws out the maledict again. Stun's gonna fall out and doesn't end up committing it as of yet, but Ghost is gonna start to fall, and look at the damage coming out from him, as well as the rest of the side of ehome. It's just too much, and now they're gonna look for a bit more as possibly Old 11 trying to find DDC. Flame Break available in a couple of seconds here, but they don't end up going for it. Force Staff backing back. Yang will be fine. And, well, DDC might not. The right clicks are there. He just gets dismantled. They have too much damage.
case of lane rash there.
Aetherlin's Flame Break is so long range as
Radiant's
well.
top tower is under attack.
I mean, this is pretty absurd at this
Radiant
point. Like, look at how big
structures
this
are
this range is on the spell. I'm zoomed out about as
Aetherlin's
far as
on
I
this
can
hero
go.
it's so good. Like, the blink range just makes it worth it entirely, and then you've got the extra kind of screw up
Radiant's top
range if you
tower
blink
is under
too
attack.
short for the lasso to catch. It's just unfortunate you don't normally have the item slots for it because people prioritize either Yules or Flame BKB.
Another vacuum back with the wall and the stun, but BKB pop for Drow. They could think about going on this a second time, but they're going to need to get the range with the vacuum. It's just so hard. The cooldown on this spell is slightly too long, and Lincoln's broke. They're going to be able to create some Medusa illusions, which are doing a good amount of damage, but I don't know. I'm not sure if it's going to be enough. They do go forward, Diffusal Blade there, but they pull back the Jug, and with the silence off as well, the vacuum doesn't pull him into the wall. FY going to start to fall. They've already taken down the Jug. Everybody from Vici Gaming is just going to get dismantled. Ghost trying to hold the line here, but I don't know if he can do it. The DDC illusions will spam out, but this is becoming a much and much more difficult game for Vici to hold their high ground.
They just hold anything in general. It's Roche's next objective. I imagine they have to fight that and hope to God they get some miracle vacuum.
Oh my god. This is a rough one.
And Tusa has Butterfly in 500 gold as well, so the game does not get any easier. Drow was halfway to hers.
I mean, the Alchemist has his Octarine core, so
yeah, that doesn't really matter. That's just it's a nice to have item. If you have it at 25 minutes, you're a tank, but 32 minutes, not really.
This is gonna be rough. Like you said, Butterfly completed for Old Chicken, and this is one item that I don't think they have the trump card for. They lay out that DDC ulti, and now they pull back in Ghost. He's going to take a heck of a lot of damage. Vacuum wall onto everybody. It's enough to crash Dota 2, but I don't think it's enough to kill off the side of ehome. They are going to bring Ghost really low. Landham just dancing away there on the low ground. Turns back on to end. The right clicks will be enough to find that kill. Meanwhile, the jump forward from Old Chicken, the slowest destruction and ruination that we've ever seen of these heroes is Old Landham's gonna throw out the Maledict. Come at me, bro, he says, and the Clipper came away. Oh, the Owl couldn't kill him. Yang wants to get the field so badly. They're so mad at this Witch Doctor. Can he escape? Voodoo Restorations, they finally find the kill, but Yang won't get punished for it either. Oh my goodness.
At least Vici's true carry is still alive. The guy who's karate chopping and killing the heroes in the back lines.
Yang cutting the creep wave. This actually, they're gonna have backdoor. Well, I mean, they don't have a creep wave now. Old Chicken's left alone. Oh, the relocate away though is. Oh, that was a little bit awkward. They don't find it, and they're gonna bring the Medusa back.
Now they just have to fight around Roche, secure the Aegis, probably for Medusa, and then the game is all but in the bag at that point. So Vici have to do some really next level stuff to get out of this. And I genuinely don't think they can kill Medusa. If the Jug illusions die, which is very likely against Split Shot and all the AoE that's coming out, and the Shadow Demon Disruption illusions are going to die fairly quickly as well. I just don't think they can do it.
God. Illusion Rune as well. This is... Did they... I don't know if she turned on Split Shot before that happened. That's a little bit unfortunate. Oh, no. Yeah, they...
It just doesn't show on the illusions if it's turned on or not.
That makes sense. All right, well, that's good then. I was a little bit concerned because that would have been sort of a big part of why that rune is so good on this hero taken away. Nonetheless, we are in this awkward situation now where Vici Gaming, I mean, what's the way that you take this fight? Like, it feels like you can't even go for, I mean, your big vacuum wall combo isn't doing as much anymore. Just have BKB on the Drow and you don't have anything to deal with it.
I think their best way of taking the fight is doing like some kind of two-pronged engagement where Shadow Demon and Dark Sip, possibly, initiate on the Medusa, and then you have a wraparound where they find ideally Witch Doctor and IO on top of each other, which it's already a lot to ask, but I think that's the best way they can take it if ehome are hitting their base. But doing that around the Roche pit suddenly gets a whole lot harder because you don't have the time to like wrap around like this. That's a very risky thing to do. Just walking in is
Yang. Wall dropped. Oh, nice Yule Scepter. Bat Rider still not dropping. They have this Medusa illusion that they want to keep alive for the moment, but why are you hitting yourself? All right, now also turning this back around. The vacuum again. Sylar illusions are going to be there as well. The right clicks, but they pull back in Yang, and with this Darkseer going down, I don't know if they can take this fight anymore. Yost is in the midst of all of it, but he drops to the Witch Doctor ulti, and Old 11 force staffing away from that Juggernaut. They haven't killed off anybody. They haven't even done significant damage at this point. Sylar's gonna look for the initiation, finds FY, 3 shots, he's gone. So Omni Slash trying to turn this back around, is doing a decent chunk of damage. The Fusel Blade off his own, but look at the damage on the end. Good game, well played gets called. There's just too much physical damage on the side of ehome.
Do you reckon Draw gets banned next game?
I think it might be worth it. I don't know. Probably not.
I mean, that's all it really comes down to, because Medusa's not really a hero in the game if Drow doesn't exist. To be fair to ehome, sorry, not ehome, Vici, they had ways of stopping this getting to a point. I feel like they just weren't quite aggressive enough at certain points of the game. And they made 1 or 2 team fights that didn't quite go their way, which lost all their momentum very, very quickly, and then Elk had to start buying back to defend buildings, and it was all a very slippery slope for them. I feel like they just got outdrafted in the end, though, because they were the team that were forced to do so much at such a small window. And you have to kind of almost win the game in 10 minutes in this kind of draft to have a chance in hell when it goes past 30.
Well, I think that it just comes down to that 4th pick Medusa being backbreaking. Like if you can get, and I don't remember if they got the Drow in the 2nd phase. I want to say
Drow
that
was
they did.
First phase.
Yeah, they got that first. So I think that if you're going to do this around again, and you either have to be prepared for the illusion strategy, or I mean, not even just illusion strategy, you just have to be prepared for the Medusa or ban out the Drow from the start. In either case, we're going to be moving on to game number 3. This is an elimination match. So Vici Gaming versus ehome. One of these teams is going to have to finish off their hopes and dreams at the SDO Grand Finals, where they would face off against newbie. Still a long ways away for them, but stick around. I've been Lyrical. He's been PqMz. Follow us on Twitter if you feel so inclined, at Lyrical Dota, at PqMz Dota_. We'll be back in just a little bit with the final set in this series. See you guys then.